So I'm up at the crack of dawn after yesterday's Apple September event where we saw loads of new Apple products including Apple Watches, iPhones and iPads. And today I want to talk about that actual event. I want to do a bit of a summary of it and what my personal thoughts about it was, the good and the bad. Well, let's begin. So we have had the first Apple event this fall, and as per usual, the beginning of it had a lovely kind of cool intro with a nice musical kind of California sort of style intro. And then after this, Tim Cook stepped onto the stage and said there were some fantastic new products. He talked about the Apple TV Plus service with lots of new shows that are coming along, and a lot of them I'm really excited for, to be honest. And then soon after this, he introduced that there are going to be some brand new iPads on its way. So first of all, we got introduced to the brand new 9th generation, or the 2021 iPad. And to be honest, I think out of all the products that were shown yesterday, this has got to be the best product for the kind of bang for your buck, as it were. For the amount of money it costs and what you're getting in return is absolutely fantastic. So the brand new iPad, it comes now with 64 gigabytes of storage as the minimal amount of storage inside it. On top of this as well, it's had an upgrade to the A13 chipset, and this is the same chipset what powers like the iPhone 11 and also the iPhone SE. It's a really impressive chip. Remember, this chip only came out 2 years ago, so it's still quite new and it will get a lot of software updates in the future. Also at the same time, there's been some upgrades to the actual camera. The rear camera is now a 12 megapixel camera shooter, and then with that neural engine powering it from the A13 chipset, you can get some impressive shots. But one of the cool big features I loved about it was the brand new 12 megapixel front-facing FaceTime selfie camera. And the main reason I love this, it comes with center stage. Now, center stage was only introduced earlier this year, and to be honest, only one other iPad has center stage at the moment, or did only have center stage up to this moment, and that was the iPad Pro. So putting this in the most budget line iPad was absolutely unbelievable. And then after this, it was revealed that the actual price of this iPad would still remain at $329 US. So that is a massive bargain. Compared to last year's 8th gen, you had the A12, only 32 gigabytes of storage, a less powerful chip. That started at exactly the same price. So this year's iPad 2021, the base model, is an absolute steal. It is definitely worth getting if you're looking to start out on your iPad journey, because it is such a great tablet for that price. So next of all, we were shown the iPad mini, and wow, I think, to be honest, out of all the products that were shown, this was the best looking one of a new product. The iPad mini has an all new design, and to be deadly honest, it just looks like now a mini iPad Air. So it's just much more shrunk down. The original iPad mini, we've had that same design now for about 10 years almost, or maybe a bit less than that, probably about 9 or 8 years. I think 10 years is a little bit too far. But still, it was definitely due a refresh in the design, and they've made it into that iPad Air design, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The screen size has now increased up to 8.3 inches, up from the 7.9 inches, so that's 0.4 inches bigger. Also as well, the actual overall kind of volume is much more smaller. The screen is right up to the edges, just like the iPad Air and the iPad Pros, and it just looks like the real deal. Also at the same time as well, we've got a better camera on the back, very similar to the one what you have in the iPad Air. And then also on the front, you've got that 12 megapixel camera again, and that 12 megapixel is a center stage camera. So I'm really excited about it. This is going to be a great device for people just to put in their pocket and take out around with them, especially as well that they announced it's got 5G built into it. So, if you want to do a quick FaceTime call, this is going to be awesome for that, and you wanted it on a bit more of a bigger screen than say like an iPhone Pro Max or whatever you've got of your biggest iPhone that you have. So definitely this is going to be an awesome iPad. Other things that have been added to the iPad mini are also that brand new Touch ID that we saw on the iPad Air last year. And also, I don't know if you've noticed here, the volume buttons have been moved to the top. And the main reason why I believe this is because the Apple Pencil, or the Apple second generation pencil, now works with the iPad mini and it just slots onto the side. And they couldn't really move the volume buttons onto the other side because, you know, cases would get in the way of that. So I think the only logical step was to stick it on the top with the standby button. But overall, this is a mighty powerhouse. It has an A13 chipset inside it, the brand new chipset what's in the new iPhones, what I'll talk about in a mo. But it is absolutely awesome, and I have got mine on order, and I'm going to be doing a couple of reviews with it when it comes out next week on the 24th. So today's sponsor is from Casetify. Now, there's a reason why I've chosen Casetify as my sponsor for today's video, and let me demonstrate to you why. So what you just saw there was this iPhone being dropped in one of Casetify's impact cases. And an impact case can be dropped at 6'6". I dropped the phone around about 6 foot and you can see it was absolutely fine. Then the second clip what you saw was the iPhone again being dropped in this case, and this is an ultra impact case. And it's got these extra sort of barriers on the side here, and that basically means the phone can be dropped from 9'8". That is basically 3 meters tall in the air, and you can drop it from that and your iPhone should last. And it's absolutely incredible. And the main reason behind this is because of a technology what they make these cases out of called Chi-Tech. Now Chi-Tech is really strong, as you can see here. In fact, as well, Chi-Tech uses 65% of recycled materials. In fact, I'll actually say it's called Chi-Tech 2.0 because their old technology used 50% recycled material and this uses now 65%. So it's even more recycled bits and pieces, and I'm a massive fan of that for, you know, saving the planet and all sorts of things like that. So yeah, it's really cool. What Casetify also offers lots of different customizations what you can apply to your phone case when you're ordering it through their website. In fact, just look at this case I've got here. It says matte on it and it's been done in my YouTube colors of the blue and the kind of orangey yellow. And they've managed to match that and also get my font correct as well. It's really amazing. Something else what I love about these cases is that they have an antimicrobial kind of coating on them and it protects them from 99% of bacteria. So I'm a massive fan of these cases if you can't tell. In fact, I have done loads of other videos about their cases and they've been a sponsorship of mine for some time because I'm absolutely a massive fan of all their cases, what they create for loads of different phones out there. In fact, right now, Casetify are offering a discount to you guys out there if you use the link that I'm putting down below right now, and also the same link I'm going to put in my description. You can get 15% off all Casetify cases if you use my link. So yeah, it's worth checking it out if you're buying yourself a brand new iPhone, or in particular a brand new iPhone 13, because these cases are absolutely phenomenal to protect them. So I'll talk a little bit more further about iPhones a little bit further on because I've just talked about some great Casetify cases just then. But let's talk about the Apple Watch. Now, I think so far I've talked about the good. And now I think I'm going to talk about, in my opinion, the bad. Now, the Apple Watch, a lot of reporters out there, including like Min-Chi Kuo, John Prosser, and Mark Gurman, have actually been reporting that we were going to be getting a brand new redesigned Apple Watch Series 7. In fact, I've been making loads of my videos based on these leaks and rumours. And in fact, I was showing off you guys some 3D designs of what it could possibly look like. But guess what? There was no new design. And I'll be honest, I'm really disappointed with this. We've had basically the same Apple Watch design since the very first generation, whenever that came out. I think it was like 2014 or so. And we're now in 2021 and there hasn't been a design change whatsoever really to the Apple Watch. Yes, there's been some little tweaks along the way with like the screen size getting bigger, and also this new Series 7 actually has an even bigger screen on it now compared to the likes of the Series 4 all the way up to the Series 6 and including the SE model. But overall, it doesn't look that much different. Now, I can't complain too much. It does have now a stronger build quality, like the glass on top of the actual watch face is much more tougher, and the same, the body is more tougher as well, but it doesn't just seem like a big upgrade, especially that we recently found out the actual chipset what powers this Apple Watch is the same chipset what is inside the Series 6 from last year. And it just seems really, really odd that, you know, they haven't upgraded even the chipset. To be honest, this is just like a kind of a S model to last year's Apple Watch. I think they should have even called it the Apple Watch Series 6 S, I think, to be honest. This is what this kind of upgrade is. It isn't a big leap forward in my opinion, especially there's no new sensors or anything added to the actual Apple Watch. We were hoping for, you know, I think it was a blood glucose monitor that we said it was going to be rumoured to be coming out, and that hasn't even appeared. So yeah, to me, it was quite disappointing. But don't get me wrong, if you want to get yourself a Apple Watch Series 7, I am sure it's going to be a fantastic Apple Watch. And if you are a person who sort of runs out and about and, you know, like the demo showed somebody falling off their bike on the ground, yeah, it's going to be a great watch for you. But overall, I'm just a little bit disappointed in what Apple had to offer with the Apple Watch Series 7. So let's move on to the main highlight of the show, what a lot of people, a lot of my viewers or you guys really, really wanted to see. And that was the new iPhone. So specifically the iPhone 13. There was a bit of rumour it could be an iPhone 12s, but in the end, it was the iPhone 13. Apple are not superstitious, they've used the 13 number. But is the iPhone 13 truly amazing compared to the iPhone 12? Well, let's start with the iPhone mini, or the 13 mini, and also the normal iPhone 13. So first of all, there were some big camera changes on the back. Now, I've been wanting to know personally why the camera layout has changed on the rear. And finally, it was revealed the main reason is it does have that kind of sensor shift technology that we actually have in the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And you've got to remember here, guys, that is a big change straight away. To put that technology, what was on the top range, even the iPhone 12 Pro didn't have this technology, just the 12 Pro Max last year, and now it's on the mini and it's in the iPhone 13 normal as well. So that is a massive upgrade for that. Also at the same time as well, that cinematic experience, what you can get with the cameras, is truly amazing. I was absolutely gobsmacked with that video that they showed, the one with the butler and the kid and the art design and the mystery. And I cannot believe that was recorded on an iPhone 13. That is just truly amazing. Another big upgrade, in my opinion, has definitely got to be to do with the battery. Now, the batteries inside the iPhone 12 mini and also the iPhone 12 last year weren't the best. In fact, you could argue that the iPhone 11 battery was actually a little bit better than what you got inside the iPhone 12 last year. And it's really good that they said that the iPhone mini would get about an hour and a half, and then the iPhone 13 normal would get a 2.5 hour battery increase. Now remember this, guys, that battery increase is with people who have been using and testing this iPhone just by using general apps. If you're going to be doing hardcore gaming, you know, what really heats up your phone, you use lots of power, your brightness is on full, your volume's on full, you're using 5G, you know, all the bits and pieces, Bluetooth's on, I could name it, everything what's basically using and draining your battery. No, you won't get that extra hour and a half or 2.5 hours. You'll get a bit more, but this is basically average kind of app usage. You will gain that kind of extra battery life. The other thing as well is that there's been some enhancements on the actual screen, and also something Apple didn't really talk about, but you can see it. The notch is about 20% smaller than it was on the iPhone 12 and the 12 Pro, and to be honest, on all the iPhones, all the way from the iPhone 10 or X or whatever you want to call it, it's a little bit smaller at last. But I don't think, you know, iOS 15 is going to utilize that space because it's just so small to do some, you know, software changes just for that. I think you'd have to redesign the notch completely for that reason. But overall, iPhone 13 and also the iPhone 13 mini, especially now it starts at 128 gigabytes as the base storage, and also the price hasn't changed, is a really good phone. And I would say, if you've got yourself, for example, a iPhone 11, or even if you've got yourself like a 10s or a 10R or XR, whatever you want to call it, and you're looking for an upgrade, definitely the iPhone 13 is worth it. If you have an iPhone 12 mini, I know only about 20 people in the world have them, but if you've got yourself a iPhone 12 normal, I wouldn't say upgrade it at this stage. I don't think it's actually worth it. But for everybody else, and also if you're moving from Android over to iPhone for the first time, or you haven't been around in years, definitely, I would say the iPhone 13 is definitely a great phone, and also the cameras on the back are going to be more than adequate for kind of standard usage. So finally, let's talk about the iPhone 13 Pro models. Now, one of the big changes that was advertised straight away was the brand new screen that has been put onto the Pro models. At last, we had Pro Motion, or an XDR Pro Motion display, and that basically means a 120Hz refresh rate ability on both the Pro and the Pro Max. And we've been waiting for this for the last sort of 2 to 3 years. And I don't know about you, I'm so glad it has finally come. Especially as well, it's got adaptive screen refresh rate, so it can go right down to 10 Hz. For example, if you were just looking at a picture, or if you're reading an article and you weren't scrolling around. This is going to make big changes, for example, like with the battery life. And talk about the battery life, again, the battery life has improved by 1.5 hours and 2.5 hours on the Pro, with 1.5 and 2.5 on the Pro Max. Very similar to like what they've done with the 13 mini and also the normal 13. Other enhancements that I like is that the brightness of the screen is even more powerful now. So when you're outdoors, you'll be able to see your screen even a little bit more clearer now, or a bit more brighter, because they've turned up the nits on it. Also at the same time, one of the other big upgraded changes inside the iPhone Pro models, or the 13 Pro models, has got to be the actual camera setup. So now all the camera lenses can actually do night mode. Before, it was only just one lens. All of the lenses can now do it. So you could do wide, ultra wide and telephoto, and that is absolutely amazing. On top of that as well, the actual lenses and sensors are bigger, so it's letting in a lot more light. So kind of your nighttime photography is even more brighter. And also if you do kind of more kind of group kind of photos, they're going to come out much more clearer, you know, in different kind of tones of skins and things like this. It's going to come out with a much more clarity in your actual photos. Something else I'm quite excited about for being a video creator has got to be that new ProRes kind of format, what you can now use, the video format. It's only going to be at 30 frames per second with it, but to be deadly honest, it's still absolutely amazing. You know, if you talk to any kind of video creator out there, when you have kind of a pro kind of or a raw kind of format, the amount of changes you can do to like a standard, like in a picture with a JPEG or a like a hike file, you can do so much more when you've actually got like the raw kind of video format, and you can do so many more changes with it, and it's much more clearer in that kind of respect. So yeah, that is really exciting. The only one downside with that actual video format, and to use it, you actually have to have an iPhone 13 Pro model with 256 gigabytes of storage or more. And to be honest, that kind of makes sense, because that's video storage, you know, that kind of file type is going to take up a lot of storage as you're recording with it. So it does make sense that Apple have actually done this. Finally, let's talk about the colours. In fact, let's talk about the colours for both the 13 and also the 13 Pro. So with the 13, you've got this new kind of pink colour. Is it pink? I can't really tell. It's got a pink tinge to it. But to be honest, I'm a bit sad that that brand new purple, what only came out back in like sort of March time, is going to be kind of ditched now. Well, I guess it won't be ditched, because Apple are still selling the iPhone 12 models, but it's ditched for the iPhone 13, and I really like that colour, and I think it would have been really nice to have that inside the new 13. And then the same with the 13 Pro models. You've now got that kind of, is it the new kind of Californian kind of, or what I call it, Sierra blue, that was it, the Sierra blue colour. And they got rid of the Pacific blue, and I really like that blue on the iPhone 12 Pro models. It seems like now Apple are making a limited colour, or a limited edition colour, for each version of each new iPhone they bring out. So for example, the iPhone 11 Pro had a midnight green, and then after this, with the iPhone 12 Pro models, we had that blue, the Pacific blue, and now with the actual 13 we have the Sierra blue, but each time that previous colour has been dropped. So my opinions of the iPhone 13 models as a whole, I think they were good upgrades. I don't think they were absolutely breathtaking. To be honest, it seems like to me the iPhone 13 models have sort of caught up with the competition, as it were, and give you a full, complete package. You know, cinematic mode has been out on the Pixel 5 from last year, for example. 120 hertz, I'm not even going to talk about that. It's been out for years on Android phones. So it's good for, you know, the iPhone 13 models to actually sort of catch up with everybody else in the competition and give you everything all in one. Especially as well that we do also have those bigger batteries, but we're going to have to test them out to see how good it really, really is. Well guys, it's time to wrap up this video. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button, and also at the same time as well, if you want the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons, please also make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.